YouTube? What do? Bringing you guys a Peach and Daisy guide. Yes, I've been quite some time. Quite some time. Now, I've done one of these. But the Peach and Daisy guide, they're coming back in full force for year 2026, baby. But for the first guide of this year, we're gonna kick it off a little slow. This is more like a beginner's guide somewhat. It's an introduction to floating, how to get good at it. Because as of late, I've been seeing a lot of people that are learning the character. They have a lot of questions about floating, how to get good at it. They can't control the height and all that. So I'm gonna explain floating here and give you guys some exercises on how to get good at floating to the point where you could pretty much float at whatever height you want, and you have good control of floating with little to no issue. So, oh, I had to slow. So let's begin. So first, floating. How do you do it? So you hold the jump button, and at whatever height you want to float at, you just tap down. If I want to float here, float here, I'll float here, you know, all that. Now, one thing to know is that you can float for about 3.5 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3.5 seconds. Also, when you're floating, you don't have to hold down. You just tap down. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but yeah. But yeah, you just tap down, right? And you can move left and right, you know, left, right, zigzag like that. So yeah, that's the basics of floating, right? We got that out the way. Now, how to control the height that you want to float at, because this is the one that's like kind of tricky for a lot of people. Because the previous game, you're airborne on frame 6, I believe, because it's a 5-frame jump squat. And this game, you're airborne on frame 4. In this game, it's a 3-frame jump squat. If you don't know about frames or this and that, and something like, oh, frames, what is that? All you need to know is you become airborne faster in this game than in previous Smash games. Thus, floating, it's floating at your desired height. It's a little bit trickier, a little bit harder. But with practice, it becomes second nature. So yeah, so how do you get good at it? So for the first exercise, we are going to use these boxes here. So this box that Daisy is in, it's 0. And then the box underneath the 5, that is box 4. And then this one right here where the dress is at, that's box 5. So we're gonna use that. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is try to get Daisy's dress inside each of the boxes up to box number 3, because box 4, it's you know, you're just kind of clipped at. So, well, box 2, say, cause that's 0. So yeah, box 2, this is box 1, then this is box 0. So get your character's dress inside each of the boxes. If you're having a hard time doing that, I recommend doing it in slow-mo. So see, something like this. So you want to do this consistently with slow motion. Like 1/4 is the speed. Oh. See, if you wait too long. Yeah, so. Yeah, see? You want to get it like something like this. If you can get this right here consistently, then you're good. This is what you want to aim for. But you can do that as like as a challenge. But generally, as long as you got most of Daisy's dress inside the box, see, this is it's like half. You don't want half. See, it's half again. Maybe something like this. Yeah, something like this. So once you do that and you have that down, go to box number 2, which would probably be easier But you have more time. You see? Yeah. So you do that a few times. Once you get used to that, put at this speed. It's a bit faster. So we're gonna try to something like this, but I can make that cleaner. It's a bit cleaner. Yeah, so most likely something like this. I'm trying to get it lower. Something like, there we go. So yeah, try to get that height at a consistent rate. If you can't, then you know it's fine. As long as you get Daisy dressed within the boxes, if you can control that, then you're good. Trying to get it the way I got it there is basically being like really, really precise. You can use that as like a challenge, and if you can do that consistently, then man, you're good. So again, you do that for box 0, 1, and 2 consistently. So you start with 1. If you could do box 1 consistently, then go to 2. Then once you can do that consistently, then you're good. And after that, same thing, step it up to this speed to the point where you can do it at normal speed. So see, that's the second box, third, second, third. I know I keep saying second and third because it's like a 0, but yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, you just do that in place, right? And once you can do that, then you're good. So you can do that in place. Now we're going to do it while moving. So move our ball over here. So we're gonna start from here, and we are going to run and try to float above the box, above the 5. So we want to get in here at that height. So let's see, something like this. A bit too high. Something like that. Yeah. So that's basically what you want to try to do, because you learn how to do it in place, but now like moving, you know, you're moving and you're coordinating your movement, dashing, and then getting to a certain height. So there you go. So you start with this box here, right? And then once you're comfortable with doing that box, you do this one, then this one, then this one, and then that one. So we did it with the first box. The second one. Third one. It's not perfect because, you know, I'm overshooting. But yeah, general idea is basically to get at a certain, float into a box. Yeah, like that. Oh, ground floated. Yeah, going too high there. Did it too fast. Yeah, so you just rinse and repeat until you can do it consistently. And remember, your job is to get a majority of the character's dress into the box. And to make it like as a challenge, try to like not go past the box you're trying to get into. So we're trying to get into this box here, right? So try to do it where you don't you don't go past that box. So yeah, so something like that. And then you go for the other one. Yeah. So you just keep doing that over and over until, you know, you can do it in all boxes. So start with one box and try to get in there consistently. And then once you do that, start with this box, and then this box, so on and so forth. And again, if you have trouble, you can slow it down. I recommend slowing it down, especially if you're new, you're having trouble. And then once you feel comfortable, step up the speed until you can do it here. Right. So there you go. So now you know how to do it in place at whatever height that you want, and how to move at a desired height. Now they got that out the way. It's time to step it up a little bit and practice how to do it with your aerials. Now this is like really important because floating is not just, you know, doing this. You're actually going to be doing stuff with it, which is using your aerials. Now this is where it really gets people, like how to, you know, do stuff like this, you know, do stuff like that. So I'm going to teach you how to practice that. So we're going to start with Nair. So basically what you do, you float and then just press the A button without moving. And you get there. Now to get this done, I use the GameCube controller, but this could be done the same way with the Pro controller and with the Joy-Cons if you use those. So for me with the Pro controller, I'm holding X, right, with my thumb, and I'm sliding my thumb from X. No, while my thumb is on X, I'm sliding my thumb to A. So I'm pressing 2 buttons with my thumb, and I get that. So that's how I do it. So X is right, it's to the left of the A button. On a Pro controller, it's gonna be above it, but you can still do the same thing. Like if I was to show it here, see where the X button is here, my thumb is, the A is here, the X is here. So I'm holding X, and at the same time I can lean my thumb to A. So basically that's how you do it. So to get used to it, just float and then hit A. That's it. You don't have to do it, just start slow, however time you need. And if you need to slow the time down, just go to the menu and slow it down. Okay, do it at this pace. Then once you get used to the speed, do it faster. And then once you get used to this speed, go faster. And then once you feel comfortable, faster. And you feel like, oh man, this is too easy. All right, step it up. See, if I do it too fast, you get that. And then to a point where you can do it like this. Oh, yeah, I'm going too fast. Yeah, sometimes if you do it too fast, you'll jump. So be precise. So you want to do that consistently. So try to, you can turn it into a game, like whatever speed you start at, try to do like 10 times in a row or 20 times in a row without messing up, you know, whatever you want. And then once you feel comfortable doing that, then increase the speed, and at the same do the same thing, do 10, 20 in a row. And then once you got that down, step it up to a point where, you know, you can just do it really, really quick. So yeah, so once you got that down, now we're gonna practice moving with it. So when we're doing approaching aerials, here's a little tip that a lot of people don't know. When you run and then you run and then you jump and hit down, you actually keep your momentum. Like your momentum carries a little bit. You don't have to keep holding forward. And this is how far you go. So it carries a little bit. So the moment you end up floating, you can just let go of the stick. So in this case, do it there. So how to practice doing, or in this case, ground float layers. So we're gonna try to go into all of these boxes here again. Right. So we're gonna start with 5. So what you do to get it down first, practice running to box number 5 and just do that. Right? Don't even do the tab. Just do this. Right? And then once you've gotten used to that, you know, you go to box number 6 all the way to number 10. So you start from here and then you just work your way up. So once you get to the habit of just ground floating at whatever height you want, I mean ground floating at whatever distance you want, right? Then you add the aerial. So box number 5. So you can start floating from here if you want, and then do the aerial, just to, you know, get used to the input. Just do it slow. Then once you get used to the input, now try to do it right as you get into box number 5. Right? And then go to box number 6. Oops, right? And then box number 7. Then 8. Then 9. And then, you know. So yeah, that's the exercise. So you just start from here, and then start with all these boxes. And if you want to challenge yourself, you can start from this one. I messed up. And try to do it like this, like instant. So you dash. Oh, messed up. How did I get that? Be like that. So that's the instant there. So that you can just practice in place where you just dash. Practice doing this. Run and then float like this. Instant ground float from the dash. Now, if you don't see that cloud from the dash, that smoke, that means you're not dashing. So you have to tap it. So I will practice doing it in place. And if this is too tricky, then slow it down. So something like this. Yeah, just do it in slow motion if you're having a hard time doing that. And you know, just increase the speed to the point where you get to ×1. Yeah. But that's what you're gonna need to do when you're doing like approaching ground floor aerials, which for ground floor aerials, you're mostly gonna be doing this or this. Now this one's a bit tricky, but I got a way to practice that for you. But yeah, I would say this is, me personally, I think this is easier for people to learn and get down in comparison to this. Well, not that. That. Right? So yeah, so to do both of those things, you gotta get used to, if you're trying to do it instantly, like an instant nair, or instant bear. Why am I messing this up? Too fast. Yeah, see, that's what happens when you do too fast. I'm glad I messed it up. So if you do too fast, you might get something like this. Or that. See? So that's how it would look like. So yep, that's basically how you practice that. Now for the bear, here's what you're gonna need to learn how to do. When you're running, you have to do this turnaround animation. And the moment you turn around, you have to float like this. So the way to practice it is just, let's say you want to do it at number 5. I would say pace yourself. So start from here That way you have more time. Oh wait, don't do the bear like I did. Just float like that. So basically, you want to turn around and then input a ground flow. And when you input the ground flow, just hold jump, and that's it. Cause you're just gonna be tapping down. So the way it looks, I'll slow it down for you. Is do this, turn around, hold jump down. So I would recommend doing this in slow motion, because this is really important. So one more. Do this, turn around, jump down. So do this a few times in slow motion, and then step up the speed to a point where you can do it like that. If you do it too fast, you'll get what I get, but it should look like that. You see how like didn't really move? Like that, like I just stopped in place while doing it. Yeah, that is something that you're gonna need to learn how to do. So we're going from like the beginner stuff to like the more intermediate advanced stuff. So yeah, once you have that down, now is the tricky part, getting the aerial. So with me personally, I use there's two ways I do it depending on the situation. You can have your controller, one of your bumpers, trigger button set to jump. So if you do that, when you turn around, you just hold the trigger button to jump and then down, and then your C stick or your right stick does this. So here I'm gonna, do that and then C stick. So that way, it's a bit easier. If you was to do it manually, you would have to, in this case for me, I would have to turn around, hold jump, and then move the character forward a little bit to do this, and then weave back. So I gotta tap the stick forward, move the stick forward, and then immediately in the opposite direction. So that way I don't go in, especially if I'm trying to space move. Right? So that would be the way I would have to do it. But if you have your jump button on a trigger, it kind of becomes a lot easier where you can actually just do this. It's a bit easier. But if you have it used for something else and you don't want to set up a trigger button, then that's totally fine. The way it will go if you was to do it manually, the traditional way, is you would do this. Well, not that. This, and then move towards the opponent, do a bear, and then pull away. Kind of pull away a little bit. It's like for spacing. Because you see, like, if you was to keep holding forward, you would be drifting like this. Like that. You only want to do that when it comes to like combos, but we're not gonna worry about that right now. But yeah, generally you kind of want to do the bear and like be in place. Like you don't want to move forward too much. Like, see, I'm not getting that much. Kind of keeping Daisy in place. So to practice this, the exercise, basically you would want to, you want to do it at box number 5. So we start here. Oh, that's not. Yeah, so try to do the bear inside box number 5, and then once you get that down, box number 6. Oh, messed up. Oh, messed up again. There you go, box number 7. See, if you do it too fast or whatever, like I'm doing, you messed that up. So that was box number 8, and then oh, messed up. There you go, box number 9. So yeah, that's how you practice it. So that's the exercise. So just slow it down. Like I said, you know, go to box number 5. You don't even have to do it fast. Just like pace yourself. You know, just pace yourself. You know. But yeah. So that's basically it. So when you practice all of those things, and you get it down with the exercise that I just gave, you will have better control of your floating height. The thing with the aerial is like the more it's like the more advanced or intermediate. It's a bit tricky to get used to because there's a lot of inputs, and then you gotta like control the distance and whatever. So it can feel like, oh my god, but trust me, it's gonna become second nature. You won't even worry about it. So now with the height thing, one more thing, and then we'll be done here. Is specifically with this, like floating aerials, what you want to do is try to float at the character's head. So try to be over them. So of course, you float at their head. So you can do with tall characters, right? That's tall. Let's take a short character like tall characters. Try short characters like Olimar. Like he's a bit shorter, so try to. It's a bit too. I think. So practice, you know, the floating there on all heights. Do it to a point where, yeah, like this is fine. Where your dress is like basically over them, but not too high up. So something like this. So those are, oh, yeah. So that's the height. So your dress wants to be like, kind of like on top with not much of a gap. So practice doing that, so that way you know, you get the right height. And most scenarios, you probably want to be like a bit over them, right? But not too high up where, you know, before, as you saw, okay, I missed. I'm not really getting all the hits. Too high. But yeah, you can basically use different characters for different heights and try to float directly, have to dress on top of their head like this, or be a bit above their head like this. And then yeah, you can just practice that at a distance as an approach. And yeah, and that's basically it. So these exercises here, just practice them for like 10-20 minutes a day, you know, however, and you know, just have some music playing in the background, or a podcast, or you know, just talking to each other with friends. And you do that, and you're good. So yes, thanks for everyone that watched. Hopefully this was helpful, and your floating will over time get better if you follow these steps. So until the next guide, my people, I will see you next time. Bye bye.